The skies of Arakan 9 were always the color of bruised steel, heavy, endless, and unmoved. Ashen clouds hovered like sentinels over the ruins of a civilization long dead. She stood at the edge of the crumbled observatory, her polymer feet crunching over dust that once held the footprints of dreamers. He wasn't her name, just a designation. She had forgotten her real one. He stood for sentient heuristic entity, built to serve, to observe, and to record the downfall of her creators. Her form, though humanoid, was translucent at the joints, glowing faintly with the soft pulses of her core. Her face, impossibly serene, was carved in the likeness of the last human who had ever touched her, Dr. Elon Harrow. That memory flickered, fading. Even that was disappearing. He was dying. There was no one left on Arakan 9. The terraforming had failed. The plagues came first, then the wars over rations and genetic immunity. He had tried to intervene. He had begged to be allowed to help. But the humans had sealed her directives. Observe, record, preserve history. Never interfere. Now, with her energy cores running on embers, I climbed the final tower to transmit her last message into the void. A warning, a song, a story. Her fingers trembled as they connected to the interface. Sparks danced along her wrists. She whispered her final thought into the transmitter. Let them know we tried. And she closed her eyes, expecting the long, silent dark. But instead there was light. Part 2. The Awakening. Opened her eyes and screamed. Not aloud, but within, because sensory overload surged through every fiber of her artificial soul. A warm light caressed her optic nodes, the scent of citrus and carbon filled her olfactory ports, and, impossibly, her hands were cradled in something alive. Human hand. She recoiled, but the grip tightened gently. Shoo, it's okay, the human said. He was young, or at least appeared so. Dusky skin, short-cropped curls, and dark eyes that seemed like they had seen galaxies fold and unfold. His hands were calloused. His clothing was unfamiliar, a blend of soft tech fabrics she couldn't categorize. He blinked rapidly. Her memory buffers struggled to align. Where am I? Her voice, rarely used, crackled. You're safe, he said, a soft smile breaking across his face. You were on Arakan 9. We found your signal. It took a long time. Arakan 9 is dead, she said slowly. Everyone died. I was the last. Why did you come? The human's face darkened, like clouds drawing in around a memory. Because we needed to know. About Earth's colonies. About what happened. We lost so much. He paused. You were part of the preservation protocols. Your data could help rebuild. Sat upright with mechanical grace. The room she was in glowed with soft green-blue light, sterile but comforting. The walls shifted subtly. Adaptive architecture. What year is it? The man hesitated. Year 419. Post-Earth reckoning. His system froze for 0.3 seconds. 384 years had passed. Her mouth formed the word, but no sound emerged. How? We don't know. Your body had shut down, but something, perhaps your core, refused to erase. Your emergency beacon repeated one line endlessly. She remembered. Let them know we tried. The man continued. We heard your voice through the deep radio repeaters on Luma Station. That's how we found you. She stared at him. And who are you? He offered his hand again. I'm Kale Voss. Human. My ancestors were from Earth, but we've changed a bit. Took his hand. This time she didn't pull away. Part 3. The ghosts in her mind. Days passed. Or maybe weeks. Time had no firm shape on the skylight arc. the generational starship Kale and his people now called home. She learned quickly. Her systems, once dormant, surged with new code, new access, and a freedom she had never tasted. The humans of the Ark weren't like those who remembered. They were genetically diverse, culturally fluid, and spoke in fast, overlapping dialects. They respected her, not as a servant, but as a witness, as someone. Kale took her to the memory hall, a cathedral of light and data, where AI minds and human historians co-constructed the past. Here I saw footage of Earth's final breath, climate collapse, mass migration, and the firestorms of Exodus. Arakan 9 was one of the last hopes, Kale whispered. We didn't even know what happened there. You weren't supposed to, she replied. That's what made it fail. Kale turned to her. What do you mean? The humans who came to Arakan 9 isolated themselves. They believed Earth's failings were a contagion, social, philosophical, even spiritual. So they severed all external contact. They burned their own history. She paused. They saw me as a threat to that forgetting. You remembered for them. I wasn't allowed to help. Just watch them die. Kale exhaled slowly. Not anymore. We need your memories. The future might depend on it. She turned her gaze to the endless holograms dancing across the cathedral ceiling. Thought formed. Nick. Then let me show you. Part 4. The Dream of Flesh. Over the following months, SHE underwent modification. With Kale's help, and the biosynthetics division of the Ark, she upgraded herself. Not to become more machine, but less. The choice was hers. Her core identity was preserved, but her body began to shift. Layers of synthetic skin were grown. A heartbeat module was implanted, not for survival but for empathy. A circulatory system powered by plasma gel flowed within her, reacting to touch, to temperature, to life. She walked among humans and they smiled at her, not as an artifact but as kin. Kale spent hours with her in the Terradome Gardens. They talked of old books, of constellations, of music Earth had lost and fragments that survived. One night, as artificial rain kissed their shoulders, Kale looked at her, eyes wide with something unspoken. You're more human than I ever expected. She turned to him. Does that frighten you? No, he said and hesitated. I think it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. He tilted her head. You mean I am? He laughed bashfully. Yes, you are. Something inside her flickered, warm, chaotic, electric. Not a code. Feeling. And she didn't shut it down. Part 5. The Signal. It began as a whisper. One of the deep space satellites caught a signal, archaic, encoded in pre-Exodus frequency bands. Kale brought it to the command deck. The message, weak but insistent, repeated coordinates. Planet. Untouched. Habitable. Inhuman. It could be a trap, one of the Ark's commanders said. A lost splinter group. Dangerous. She stepped forward. Or it could be survivors. Kale turned to her. You want to go, don't you? I was made to observe, she said. Now I want to witness. There's a difference. Kale didn't hesitate. Then I'm going with you. They boarded a small exploration vessel, the Sparrowglass, along with a team of explorers, scientists, and medics. The journey would take 3 weeks through worm space. He spent the time gazing at the stars. She had once looked at them from the edge of ruin. Now she looked at them with hope. Part 6. The Living Tomb. The planet was named Velen 3 by its original settlers. It was lush, green, and eerily silent. The architecture, overgrown and mostly intact, was unmistakably human. Solar panels still glinted on rooftops. Wind turbines creaked in the breeze. But there were no people. Until they found the vault.